Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Yule, season's greetings, Happy Holidays. So we are here once again for another wassail in the days of Christmas that are fastly approaching indeed. So before we get into our wassail today, I thought I would go into a little bit of the history of carols from the earthly perspective. From the soul perspective, since the time before time, we have been utilizing sound healing and light language and various other forms of music to enlighten us, if you will, in each moment. But the Christmas carol, or the Christmas wassail, has been sung in Europe, here in the UK and throughout Europe, thousands of years gone now. But they were nay Christmas carols or Christmas wassails. They were actually pagan songs, sung at the winter solstice celebrations as people danced around the stone circles, which is very similar to what we have in Stonehenge every year. The word carol itself actually means dance or song, and it's a dance or song of praise and joy. And so these carols or wassails were used to be written and sung for all four seasons rather than just for Christmas time. But only the tradition at Christmas really has survived over the many, many thousands of years. So when early Christians took over the pagan solstice celebrations for Christmas, beginning in, see my tinkling bell, beginning in 129, a Roman bishop said that the song would be called an angel's hymn, and to be sung at Christmas service in Rome. Other famous early Christmas hymns or carols were written in 760. Comus of Jerusalem, Greek Orthodox churches did so. There were composers all over Europe who would write Christmas carols or wassails. However, not as many people were singing them except in the Latin language. And it was by the time that the Middle Ages came around the 1200s, that most people had actually lost interest in celebrating Christmas altogether. That changed actually when St. Francis of Assisi, who is someone who I honor and revere very dearly, in 1223, he started doing nativity plays in Italy. And the people in the plays sang songs called canticles. And so it told stories during these plays, and sometimes they were new carols that were in Latin, but normally they were carols that were in the language that the people watching could play and could understand and join in. So in Italian, basically, right? And so new carols were and new canticles were spread to France and Spain and Germany and all over the European countries. And the earliest carol that was written like this was in 1410. Sadly, there's only a bit of fragments that exist of those. And most of those carols at that time were about Mary and Jesus meeting different people in Bethlehem, or Elizabethans. In the Elizabethan period, they were loosely based on the Christmas story and about the Holy Family and entertaining songs rather than necessarily religious songs, which is where our new Christmas carols or Christmas wassails come from, actually. So they were usually sung, those types of carols in that time were usually sung in homes rather than churches. Traveling singers or ministers, parsons, started singing these carols or words, and they were changed to the local people when they were traveling to, wherever they traveled to. One of the carols that was like that was I Saw Three Ships. And I Saw Three Ships will be a carol I'll be doing, a wassail I'll be doing at some point during this period of the season. When the Puritans came into power in England, here in England, down south, in the 1640s, the celebration of Christmas and carols was actually stopped again. So we've had periods that we actually have had carols, and with the changing of the times from an earthly perspective. Carols did survive, and some did sing them in secret, though, during those times. So under the heart of it all, even though tradition and culture said otherwise, it's still been there, which I think is amazing, right? And the carols remained mainly unsung in the Victorian until the Victorian times, when two men, William Sandys and Davis Gilbert, collected loads of old Christmas music from the villages here down south in England and started spreading them again publicly. And that's when they became popular. And during those times, those official carol singers were called waits. Waits. They were bands of people that were led by important leaders, such as council leaders and things of that nature, or people who had powers over the villages and towns. And so the waits would come, and they were called that because they only sang on Christmas Eve. And so they were known as the watch night or the wait night, because that was the wait night of when the shepherds were watching their sheep and waiting for the angels to appear. And that's when the Christmas celebration began in what we ken as more modern times. During that time also, many orchestras and choirs were then being set up in the cities down south in England, and people wanted the Christmas songs to sing, and so carols once again became popular. And new carols such as Good King Wenceslas, which will be another one we'll sing at some point together, were also written during the Victorian period. So new carols then came and went from there. And so some of them were by candlelight for carol services. Some of them were just going a wassailing down the streets of the towns and cities and villages and even the hamlets here in this country and all over. So that just kind of gives you a bit of a history. And to go with the carol of the bells, the song that I'm going to come forth with you this evening, wherever you are on this earth, is actually Silver Bells. And Silver Bells was first sung by William Frawley, and it was sung in its entirety and is generally known for the immediate version by Bob Hope and Marilyn Maxwell. In the motion picture, The Lemon Drop Kid, which was done in 1950, in the late summer of 1950. And Silver Bells, actually, in case you didn't ken or didn't know this, Silver Bells was actually originally called Tinkle Bells. Until one day, Jay Livingston, who is the co-writer, along with Ray Evans, who also wrote Silver Bells, it was actually Jay who had come home one day and had realized the brevity of the situation because Ray Evans had said they never thought that tinkle actually had a double meaning. Because in America, tinkle actually means it's a slang word for urination. And so they kind of thought better of it, calling it Tinkle Bells, and changed it to Silver Bells instead. So there's different there's different reasons they said that this was written. Some actually say the song inspiration came from the bells used on the sidewalks with the Santa Clauses and the Salvation Army in America on the New York City streets. And some other people have said, including the co-writer who is Ray Evans, he said the song was actually inspired by a bell that sat on an office desk, shared by the two of them who wrote it. So very interesting reference to Silver Bells, and so I fancy to sing it with you. So come a wassailing with me. Let's walk the streets, whether you are in America, in New York at the present moment, whether you're here in this country of Scotland and you're going amongst the wee villages, or anywhere else around the world, Italy, Spain, Rome even. It no matters where you are in the world, but come a wassailing with me and let's enjoy together singing Silver Bells. City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air, there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, meeting smile after smile. And on every street corner you'll hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Strings of street lights, even stoplights, blink of bright red and green as the shoppers rush home with their treasures. Hear the snow crunch, see the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene. And above all the bustle, you'll hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Very soon it will be Christmas Day. May you make the season full of magic, as magical and as bright, as merry and amazing as ye are. Such blessings of love to you and yours, always, in all ways. Espavo.